got the Sentry to level 10. And that's pretty good and all. But I think maybe it's time to start using some B coins. Because if you take a look, I have 33k B coins. And I can only carry 34k. So I'm basically maxed right now. And that's why I'm trying to upgrade my B coin storages. I actually have both storage on upgrade right now. And I believe after doing so, that will put me at almost 50k B coins. Which I will then maybe upgrade the compiler, since I've always been complaining about how long it takes things to compile, so upgrading the compiler will definitely help with that. Now, one thing that I really would like is if there's a way to exchange B coins for cash or the other way around, because right now, what I really find is that I either have too much money or too much B coins, and it's never a good balance of both. And this is because if I'm spending all of my money on upgrading defenses, then I'm going to have too many threads used in defenses, and I'm not going to have any threads to focus on things that need B coins, like upgrading the compiler or upgrading the program library or the evolver. And if I am upgrading the evolver or the compiler or the program library, then I usually don't also upgrade the defenses at the same time. So I'm not sure if I'm just not playing optimally, or if other people have this problem too, but that's really the main thing right now. Because when I upgrade my defenses, I usually upgrade them all at the same time, but maybe I should stop doing that. It's just something that I should think about, I guess. Now, it would also be nice if we can get more than one evolver, because we can get 5 building threads, but we can only upgrade one program at a time. And I am upgrading Wraith right now. And I talked about this in my last video. I'm doing this because I don't really rely on the Wraith anyway, so I might as well upgrade it now so that when I do need it, it doesn't actually fail me. But as you can see, it's going to take 9 more hours, and I have all this Bitcoin that I can spend for another 9 hours. So I'm pretty much a good target, especially when I was busy upgrading defenses. And if we take a look, we actually had quite a few hack attempts during this upgrade. I believe it goes all the way back to this guy, DEKD. So let's take a look at what he did. And one thing to note is that I actually am about to lose 9k Bitcoins if he gets this hack. But for some reason, he was only able to get 2k, which is pretty weird considering how I have the scanner, the Sentry, and the turret on upgrade, and that was pretty weird. He just Wraith my turret that was being upgraded. And that's something you probably shouldn't do, because turrets that are being upgraded can't attack, and Wraithing them is pretty much not going to make any difference whatsoever, and you just waste 100 B-coins. So, he's going to come in with the Kraken, but this should really be an easy win, right? I mean... Okay, so he gets to this choke point and he just throws down the Protector, which seems to be a pretty good choice because I have level 1 antivirus, and these two black lights and turrets aren't really gonna kill a Protector. But for some reason he actually goes with double Protector, which I'm not sure why. Is this choke point actually that strong that he needs 2 Protectors? Because if you ask me, I think the reason that he needs 2 Protectors is because he's using 1 Shurikens. And with the Guardian back there, in addition to the double, to the choke point, that's the reason why he's taking so long. Whereas if he was able to have a beam cannon, then maybe he would have gotten through this much faster and wouldn't have needed 2 Protectors to get through this one point. But now he still has an entire minute, so I'm confused why he wasn't able to simply lose everything. So he loses the choke, but that's no big deal, because he took both turret and black ice already. And here, he throws down the Protector. Oh, I see what happened. He runs out of programs. He has that one Protector which he puts down on the Sentry. And I just noticed that he actually put down a Protector on the black ice, which I don't think was a good choice. I think an ice would have do. but he's out of programs. So all he could do is just wait for the worms, and that's the reason why I don't use worms anymore, because they rarely actually come in handy. Even in this situation where he's out of programs and the worms seem like it would be a good option, the fact that the worms take so long to actually reach the Sentry basically prevented him from actually looting everything. Whereas if he just spent that extra bit of program library space on more shurikens, then he might have actually looted more. So let's take a look at Jim, who has 8.6k B coins to gain from this hack. And he ended up getting almost nothing, which is strange. So he's going in without wraithing the code gate, which is an odd choice considering my scanner was down. So maybe that is why he did it, but then he goes back and wraiths it anyway, which is kind of questionable, because if you're going to wraith the code gate, might as well do it before you put on the access program. And then he wraiths that other code gate, but he doesn't do it before the detection time is up. So he just wasted one race for nothing, and he still has to break his code gate. Which I think is a bit questionable, because if you're going to raise the code gate, then you might as well just do it while your access program is getting there. So this is something that you should probably plan out ahead of time, and not decide at the last minute after you already put down the access program on both code gate that you want to go back and raise the code gate. Because if you consider this beforehand, then you definitely would have gotten both code gate and the two turrets and black ice at the same time, without having to waste your 100 B coin. And this is even considering that my scanner was down too. Whereas if my scanner was up, that would have been even bigger. So he gets to this choke point, and he puts down the ice wall and the one beam cannon. Now, I'm not sure why he chose to use only one Kraken, because if you ask me, I think the power of the Kraken really comes into play when you have 2 or 3 or even 4. Because with the Kraken, you get the amount of power boost equivalent to the number of Krakens you have, but it only takes up one slot, regardless of how many Krakens. So if you had all 3 Krakens, it would still be one slot, and this core would be down way faster. But if you use only one Kraken, then I feel it's almost no different from just using one of any other program. And especially considering that the Kraken takes up 7 program library space, it might be better to just go with 7 beam cannon at that rate. So he actually, he took quite a while to take down the core, and he's actually down to only 40 seconds now, and he's still working on the compiler, because he has only one beam cannon working on this, since the Kraken took up the other slot. I'm not actually sure if you can just drop the Kraken, but maybe he should just drop the Kraken if you could. I never actually tried that, since clearly having the Kraken is worse than not having it at this point. And then he switches to the worms, which is actually even worse, so I'm not sure why. Maybe he's giving up, considering how he only has 15 seconds left. He's definitely not going to loot anything, and that's 8k B coins that he's not getting. And he spent 4 Wraiths, mind you, so he lost maybe more than 500 B coins, and he got 23 in return. And then we have Teo, something like that, who came in with more Krakens and battering ram and worms. I've been seeing a lot of Krakens at this level, and I guess that's a good thing that I try to position my core so that the Kraken is significantly less effective, and I can see how that's sort of coming to play now, which is pretty nice. So he puts on the protector here, which is a bit weird considering how he only has to deal with 1 turret and 1 black ice without an antivirus. But maybe he's just not going to deal with it at all, which just by the look of it seems to be what he's doing. And then for some reason he even throws down a shocker, which I really don't think he needs, because all he got out of it was just the 1 black ice. And this protector is just fine. So, if you ask me, was a bit of a waste there, but each to their own. So once again, we see the theme of the 1 Kraken plus the 1 beam cannon with an ice wall on this 1 scanner. And that's actually taking them a lot of time, because they are only using 1 Kraken. So maybe if they want to get through the core really quickly, it would be a good strategy to just use multiple Krakens just to get to the core, since the core would waste a lot of time if you're not using something like the Kraken to just quickly get through it, from what it seems like. So he's down to 40 seconds, and he's only working on this one choke point. But then he goes in without an ice wall, which means that the choke point gets taken back. So now he has to waste even more time. So I don't think he's gonna make it, because with the Guardian protecting the turret, he's definitely not going to make it to the storages before time runs out. And even if he did make it to the storages, I believe it takes maybe around 30 seconds to loot everything anyway. Or actually, yeah, he did make it to the storage, but he's not going to have enough time to loot everything, which is going to be the main problem. So this guy didn't use as much. He did use a few protectors, a few ice walls, a kraken. I guess it's not as expensive as the last guy, but once again, he didn't get anything from that. And finally, we have this guy who has 10k B coins to gain and 312k in money to get. So that's a huge loot if he succeeds. So he should really be trying as hard as he can. But he has a really weird setup right here. He has the one Kraken. No, that's 3 Krakens. But he only has 5 beam cannons and 9 shurikens. Instead, he has 3 protectors, 8 ice walls, and 2 data leeches. So I guess he's sort of relying on the worms to take everything, since his worm is level 4. That might be what he's hoping for, but I don't think that's that effective. And in this particular hack, I have my turrets back online, but my Sentry is still upgrading, so this choke point is going to be a bit harder, so he does end up throwing down the protector. But because he has the Kraken, he actually gone through that turret super easy, which is a bit concerning. I mean, granted, I am using really low level antivirus on this one, since my high level antivirus is being upgraded, but he did go through that turret a bit too quickly, so I'm thinking maybe I should do something about that. Since if he uses the Kraken, he essentially gets 1 turret for free as a result. And look at that, with 3 Krakens, he takes down the core extremely quickly. He has 1.5 minutes to spare, which is much better than the last 2 guys. But here is a bit questionable. Why did he put the data leech on the core? I mean, the core doesn't really offer much, and he has more than enough time to finish downloading it. It almost makes me feel like that some people are just going for only the core or something like that. But why would you do that? Is getting the core the new win? Or something? And here, he just throws down the ice wall, but no protector. Which I don't think is a good choice, because even though I am only using level 1 antivirus, I do still have 2 security nodes here, with a Guardian protecting it, so I guess at least he should use the protector. But why did he put down a data leech? Well, that was definitely a waste of a data leech. He only had like 7 B coins to get from that anyway, and he already got everything. Maybe that was a misclick. So he did drop down the protector, but I think that's a bit too late, because he has only 15 seconds remaining, and it's probably going to take us some time to even take down these security nodes in the first place. And once he does, what's he gonna do? I guess he just gives up. And one thing to note is that I don't think his worms even really came into play. Where did his worm reach? Here. He got stuck here because he was trying to secure this node, so he didn't even unequip his beam cannons for the worms. And even if he did unequip his beam cannons, he would still have to deal with this. So the worms are just a bit too slow, and they have some good use cases at the lower level, but I feel like their uses diminish more and more as we get higher. So yeah, what's up with that, guys? Because look, I have, almost 10k B coins to be hacked. And the last person who made a successful hack was a Beehive at level 29. Everyone else pretty much did not get the full loot. Decked, the level 23, this guy, came decently close, but he still could have gotten 6k more and a lot more. And I guess he got the money, but I didn't have that much money at that point. And these guys are just giving away his B coins for free because they're spending all this program for 26 B coins. Or are they actually just trying to get the core? Because it feels like maybe the core is now the new way to win, right? I mean, if you get the core, you technically win. So, who even needs the B coins, right? And finally, Raging Killin, who I guess disconnected. But he hacked me when my scanner was finished upgrading. So he went in with 4 access, no Wraith, and the portal. But then interestingly enough, he also used the Kraken. So since I can't watch the replay, it's really hard to tell if my scanner was effective. But it looks like it might have been, because it seems like he probably failed the portal. Since with 4 access program, he can get here, 2, 3, 4. So at most, he could have gone on top of the scanner to lay down the portal. So, since he didn't use an ice wall, that would indicate that he didn't get onto the scanner. Since if he did get onto the scanner, he probably would have thrown down an ice wall and a protector first, before the blaster. So that tells me that it's more likely that he tried to portal onto the scanner, he failed, and he went back here to throw down the blaster. No, I'm not 100% sure, but based on what he used, that seems to be the most likely scenario. So that does mean my scanner is at least being somewhat effective. Now, I don't want to attack anyone because, I mean, I maxed out on B coins, and it's going to be a waste of B coins. I'm going to become like a cause of B coin deflation at this point if I keep attacking people or something. So I'm just going to leave things as is. I'm going to finish upgrading these 2 B coin storages. And when they're finished upgrading, the scanner, I'll boost it up, I'll boost it down so that it takes the day. And then I'll also upgrade both Kogate at the same time. And the reason I'm going to do that is because, well, the Kogate are really only there just for the scanner anyway. Because by having the Kogates here, anyone trying to stealth hack will have to use Wraith and get through and get a long detection time because of the scanner. So if the scanner is down, then they can just stealth pass anyway. So I might as well upgrade them at the same time as I upgrade the scanner. And they're due for an upgrade anyway. So that's the plan for next time, and I'll see you next time.